Hi, folks. What are we talking about today? We're talking about Brexit. Okay, so one of the most discussed subjects in the world right now, especially here in the UK, Theresa May is not our Prime Minister anymore. Since the first week of June, we actually do not have a Prime Minister.
Sorry about that.
The place is vacant. Are you interested? Just let us know. Well, anyway, although we still do not have a Prime Minister, it seems that Boris Johnson is winning this position and it won't take long. Boris Johnson has been very active from the beginning as far as Brexit is concerned. You know that people voted for Brexit in 2016 and Boris Johnson was then already going out and talking to people very openly in London and in the rest of the country about leaving the EU. Well, the problem, why don't people like Brexit? Because if we're talking about the United Kingdom, well, what we have to say is that the countries, they are not supposed to control their borders
Sorry.
anymore, not if they belong to the EU. Now, do you think they like it? Certainly not the UK, because they have an X amount of immigrants that they cannot say no to, and they have to accept every year, just like any other European country. Now, this is something that has obviously irritated the conservatories and the English people. Now, of course, the UK will have to pay billions to leave the UK as some sort of fine, but we think it's worth it. What has been stopping the UK to leave the to leave the EU is Northern Ireland. The EU does not want to go of Northern Ireland. They want the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland to stay open for commerce, and exports, and so forth, which means that Northern Ireland would still be kept under the EU, which is absolutely not acceptable as far as the UK is concerned. So that's why Boris Johnson and Farage, which is the leader of the Brexit party, is looking forward to a no-deal exit from the EU, if need be. So I said that Boris Johnson will probably be our next Prime Minister. And why is that? Not through votes, but through the Parliament. The Conservatives are the one with most seats. So the party will vote for their representative. And Boris Johnson seems to be the first or second of the list. There were many more candidates, but a few of them have already been disregarded. So it's almost certain that Boris Johnson, who, by the way, has got very good contact with Donald Trump, he is going to be our next prime minister. And Donald Trump is looking forward to the UK leaving the EU simply because he wants to increase trade with the UK. So Boris Johnson and Farage, they are quite confident that even if we leave without an agreement, without a deal, that won't affect UK's economy so much. Okay, so what has been the problem with the EU? The EU is composed by globalists. The main problem is that they're making rules for all the European countries in Brussels, bureaucrats, that the people do not know them. Do we want that? They don't know what the people want. So, to be honest with you, either with a deal or without a deal, I think it's right, personally, to leave the EU. Jeremy Corbyn, who is the leader of Labour Party here in the UK, has been quite concerned about leaving the EU without a deal. So he tried to forbid leaving the EU without a deal as an amendment in the UK law. Well, it was not accepted, so it's quite possible that will happen any day. Anyway, the time limit is the 31st of October 2019, and it will happen. As far as the economy goes, how is it going to be? As I said, Trump is promising a whole lot of trade with the UK. He says that it's going to be Independence Day here in the UK, and whatever we have to go through, that is the cost for freedom. I personally think, although I'm an immigrant in this country, but I know for a fact that in the 17th century, my ascendants were here somewhere in the UK. I know that from my heritage tree, my surname was Compton. Back to the subject, if there are too many immigrants in not only in the UK, but all over Europe, all over the world, that damages the culture. A culture that has been built for thousands of years, which I do think is a shame. So I'm not a globalist myself. Look at France. What has become of it, and what a shame. Right, the problem with the EU is that it takes the autonomy of the countries. And no, we certainly do not want that. So that was it for today. And I hope you found this video interesting. Bye-bye.